Hello, we're here with Angelina Eng, VP Measurement and Attribution for IAB. How would you describe the state of attention measurement today?
Well, when it comes to attention metrics, there are various organizations and marketers trying to determine how attention metrics should be used to measure the success of their campaign. At the end of the day, marketers are looking for measurement metrics that help them determine the quality of an impression and understand how and if those ads are influencing or changing user perception of their brand or product that they're advertising and how that relates to measuring outcomes. It's pretty complex, and the word attention metric is used to describe a variety of metrics and have different approaches. And there are three ways to look at attention metric. First, you have, I think there's a lot of focus and attention right now on biometric activity, such as sound on or off or eye tracking, body movement. And those are showing indication that if a user is either listening or watching what's on their screen, right? And even potentially some of the things that we're hearing are even such things as heart rate and blood pressure, as well as eye scanning and all that stuff. Then there's a second one where I think it's more focused around proxy signals or data signals that are being collected from a user's device. And those are more around behavioral metrics that indicate some sort of action or engagement with an ad, such as like expanding an ad unit, rolling over it, playing a video, or turning the volume on and off. And the third, which doesn't really get spoken about a lot, but we are hearing from a lot of marketers that they also want to understand the emotional or psychological impact when it comes to attention. So is it increasing a brand awareness? Is it changing brand perception or consideration? So those are the ways that I think marketers are looking at attention metric. We've seen a lot of news around various different organizations introducing it into their program or looking to evaluate what attention metric means for their organization. So we're seeing a shift of moving away from impression and viewability, or not moving away, but in addition to counting impressions and viewability is a notion of what everyone's calling attention metrics.
Great, that's an excellent summary of it. So given that there's different ways to look at attention and there are different marketers kind of on different paths of whether they've adopted it or whether they're knowledgeable or whether they're just beginning to sort of set out, what's the advice for the best way to get up to speed and stay up to date on attention metrics?
Well, as you mentioned, there's a lot going on in this space, and and there are so many different ways of looking at attention metrics. I think the one main thing is that there is not going to be a one size fits all, and not every marketer is going to agree on the same metrics as another. So attention metrics can be subjective and is subjective, right? So what one brand feels is more valuable than another um, is going to vary, and to the degree of the importance or the priority each of them. I think one thing to think about is, well, there's two things to think about. One is privacy legislation and how it relates to consumer privacy. As many are aware, there are 5 legislations that are going into effect in 2023, just in the US alone, and many more being introduced, as well as potentially a federal legislation towards privacy. So we're going to need to take into consideration all these companies that are looking to capture attention metric in any of those 3 ways, how users are going to consent to that information, understand how companies are going to be using that information. Is that going to be collected and used in a wider platform or just for a particular campaign? And then secondly, I think that when it comes to data signals, right, there's potentially a risk of some of those data signals being regulated on what we can and can't collect and how we use that and who we share that with. So I would highly recommend that companies really look into their privacy policies, connect with their data partners, measurement partners to discuss some of the risks that may occur with this, even if they have consumer opt-in, what some of these regulations will, what types of impact these regulations will have on that type of data and the use of those data. Secondly, is leaning in to organizations such as the IAB, who are looking to possibly standardize some of these things. I think the one thing to think about are the second thing, which I'm tying to this point, is what are some of the data signals that are available right now and what's not going to be available in the future. So it does require right now for anyone that is measuring at least the behavioral metrics to capture device information, IP address, screen resolution, and all of that stuff. And so it's going to be really important to understand if those data signals are going to be inclusive or not in the future, and
Okay.
and how the metrics need to be used. Some clients will want to understand, a rollover or playing a video is going to be more important than expanding an ad unit. So weighing some of those metrics specifically on their own.
Thank you so much. That was two great answers.
Great. Thank you very much.